All right. Welcome to the SVHS podcast. Today we have two very special guests from the entertainment industry. We have Reed Martin and Brian Posehn on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Brian, you graduated a long time ago. I graduated a long time ago.
From this very school.
From this very school. This building did not exist. We're super impressed.
Uh-huh.
Now, but you have your own podcast.
I do.
Tell us about that.
Well, a lot of my friends, when podcasting was first breaking about 8 years ago, or when I noticed it was breaking, my friends were all interviewing each other. That was all their shows. Like so Chris Hardwick would have other comedians on and interview them, and I did his show. Right. And then Mark Maron started doing it, and all these guys were just interviewing each other. And I was like, well, they're already doing that. Mm-hmm. So what's my podcast? And, there was this studio Earwolf who does a bunch of popular podcasts. Yeah. They were buddies of mine, and they were like, you should do something. But I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I decided to do a thing that I was missing at that point, and that was playing D&D. I had a regular D&D group, Dungeons and Dragons group, for years with these old friends. And then as it happens, you have kids or you get busy and you stop playing D&D. And we all missed it. So we decided to bring it back as a podcast and just play the game live and record it, and do characters and walk the audience through the game each week, and do recaps. And
what's the name of the podcast? It's
Nerd Poker, because I always thought that was my way of describing D&D. Is it's basically poker for nerds. Right. You're because to me poker, it's not just about it's not gambling or all those other things. It's really about hanging with your friends. And that's, to me, what my favorite thing about Dungeons and Dragons was, the interaction with these buddies that like the same thing as you do.
Right. And it comes out every week.
Yeah.
Available where all podcasts can be found.
Yeah, and then we have a Patreon account where people can get bonus episodes where we'll have special guest stars come in and play with us.
And who have you had on the podcast?
The most famous is Joe Manganiello, that actor from True. What was the show on HBO?
His show.
He's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah. True Blood.
True Blood. Yes. Yeah, we do Shakespeare Company. We do a podcast. My RSC partner, Austin, heads it up. And the way he thinks of it, and I think it's legit, is he goes, we're not touring all the time. So it's a way for our fans to sort of stay in touch, give material product to our fans, and sort of stay in touch with them when we're not out performing.
That's what a lot of people have done with it. Yeah. And I wanted to do that too, and plug things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
But then also, I get to play this game that I love, and it's been fun.
Yeah, that's a blast. Now, you also have is this your first book?
Yes.
Will it be your only book?
No.
Good.
No, because I left a lot of stories out of this one, and so no, I hope to do another one.
It's called Forever Nerdy, and what's the subtitle?
Living My Dorky Dreams and Staying Metal, and it's really about I'm a 52-year-old man, but I still like the same things that I liked as a 16-year-old kid, and I've gotten to make a living off most of those things, like including D&D. The fact that Patreon is making a certain amount every month that I'm putting towards my mortgage from playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I love the book.
And then, I've comic books, heavy metal, everything that I liked as a kid, I've gotten to dabble in. It's been a crazy career.
I was amazed at how many of the same things we liked as kids, and we both ended up as comedians.
Right.
Mad Magazine, Creature Feature with Bob Wilkins.
Yeah, and Monty Python probably.
Monty Python.
Yeah.
Big Time Wrestling with Hank Renner.
Yeah, you read that in this. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved all that. I mean, people would say, Reed, you just watch, until I was 11, all I did was go to school and watch TV, and people would say, what are you going to do with this? And I go, well, this is what I'm doing with it. I'm now an entertainer. I mean, do you feel that way?
I feel like all those hours of watching TV, it's just, I was putting all those ideas and all those things in a blender for things that I wanted to do with them, if that makes sense.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Now you're working on a album, is that right? Tell us what it's called and what you're doing.
It's called Grandpa Metal, and I've been it's a comedy metal record that I've been working on for 5 years now. And it's only taken that long because once we made a record deal, they've actually been really cool about just kind of giving us space, because I'm working with a couple other guys that are very busy. They have regular bands. My guitar player's in the band Anthrax and
awesome.
and is constantly touring. And then the other guy that I've written a lot of the music with is Brendan Small, who wrote a TV show called Metalocalypse for Cartoon Network. So he's busy, developing other new shows. And then I've written songs with the guy from Fall Out Boy, and just he's not in a metal band, but he loves heavy metal. And so it's just taken a while for it all to come together, but it's almost done. So I can't wait. That's the next thing after I'm done promoting the book, is finish up the record and get it out in 2019.
That'd be great. Would you tour with it?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not really a good front man. I mean, I think I should stay in my lane and just do comedy and not try to be a metal singer.
Right.
I mean, I can do it on record, but I don't really want to take it out. We've talked about it. I've done it live, some of the other songs. So I wrote a song called More Metal Than You that was on YouTube, and then Metal by Numbers, who got a lot of hits too. But I've only performed those songs live a couple of times, and it's terrifying because that's not something I'm used to.
Yeah.
And then also when you're playing with these guys that are at this other level, when you're playing with pros that like Anthrax or, guys that have played in Metallica and that kind of thing, like I'm afraid they're just really going to highlight my,
Do you play instrument or do you just sing? Okay.
I just sing.
Yeah. In a couple of the shows, for my sins as a kid, I studied accordion for 7 years.
Wow.
And for a musician, I'm a pretty good comedian. So it's great for comedy shows. But like we're a 2-hour show, I'm talking, I'm fine. And then it comes time to play the instrument, and so it's unforgiving.
Right.
You can't fake it. Yeah.
No.
It's scary. It's scary. Now, you write and perform stand-up. You've written sketch comedy. You've performed other people's material. What's your favorite part of all of that?
Writing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I kind of wish I could just write.
Yeah.
But I also still get so much, joy from performing. But
yeah,
I love figuring things out and making things work. And whatever it is, whether you're writing a sketch and you're trying to get to a joke in 3 minutes and then, switch to another idea, or when you're writing stand-up jokes or writing this, I just love writing. I always have. I've liked it since I was here.
Yeah, it's funny. I trained as an actor.
Creative writing was my favorite thing in school, and it still is.
We both wrote for the Dragons.
Yeah.
I trained as an actor, but I make my living more as a writer. And people say, what do you prefer, performing or writing? And I say performing is instant gratification, but writing in the long term I find more satisfying. It's harder. But
absolutely.
But when you get it right, it just feels so much better. I think about Groucho Marx taking those shows out on the road with the Marx Brothers in the old days and just, figuring out a joke. He tweak the final word, tweak the punchline, for 14 nights in a row, and then figuring what the best one was. And you must do that in stand-up.
I do. And I find a thing where when you record sometimes stand-up comedy and then you do the joke after you record it, it'll change. Like everything that I've done, like for Netflix and Amazon and all these other places, if I keep doing that routine, it morphs, which I love that too. But then I'm like, man, now it's better than it was when it was recorded. I wish I would have recorded this. But
we have that with our shows that we tour them. And at some point in 2 or 3 years, we publish them and other people can license the scripts and perform them. But then we continue to perform them and they evolve and they do sharpen.
Right. Well, I know bands that are in, or guys that are in bands wish that they could do that, that they could tighten up a song. But, they kind of do once they're performing it on the road. But once you record it, then it's like that version is the one that's out there for everybody. And I know guys in metal bands that have said to me of like, no, I'd still fix it if I could, keep tweaking it.
These guys in the bands who have a hit song, do they continue to love to play those hit songs for 10 and 20 and 30 years?
You'd have to ask, depending on the song, I'm sure, but I know guys that have gotten tired of certain songs too, and then you know bands. I always respect that when a band goes, yeah, we don't do that one anymore.
Do you have material like that?
Oh, well, no, because in material, you have to retire it once you record it, or it doesn't have the lifespan that music does.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. I wish I could still do some of the same jokes, like that joke I told in the theater today. That's something I haven't done that joke in probably 15 years. But
well, you've mentioned it, so I guess now you need to tell us what that is.
but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes you do wish that you could do the greatest hits when you have them.
Yeah. No, we have the same thing. We create a show and it's good for 2 or 3 years, and then the presenter starts saying, I think we need something else.
Right.
Definitely. Now, tell the listeners, what do people generally consider you best known for?
Now it's Big Bang Theory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the one where, because it's the numbers wise, it's probably the most popular thing I've ever done. In the 90s, I did some pretty popular sitcoms, but they were just like walk-ons. And the fact that, I'm recurring on Big Bang and people now know the character, that's definitely, and it's opened me up to an audience that I didn't have before,
Yeah. You also did recurring on
the
New
older
Girl.
folks. Yeah,
I
but
love
that's
that
a different,
show.
that's a different audience too.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have as much that crossover of Big Bang and New Girl. It's kind of two different things.
Yeah.
But it's been nice because now my mother-in-law finds me funny. She never did till I was on the Big Bang Theory.
If only my wife would find me funny. That's what I'm hoping for someday. She just shakes her head. Yes. Does your wife find you funny?
She does.
Good.
Yeah. And I mean, we wouldn't be together if she didn't.
I think my wife finds me funny too, but won't admit it.
Right.
Yeah. And what about your son? You have a 9-year-old son?
Yes.
Does he find you funny?
He does. And he even wears a shirt that says, I laugh at dad jokes. And his dad makes a lot of jokes, more jokes than most dads.
Yes.
And they are all dad jokes, even though, I'm a professional. When they come out of my mouth to him, they're dad jokes.
And does he listen to all of your material?
No. No, he can't. And we're still PG and PG-13 for him. So, no, my stuff is all the stuff with my name on it,
Right. That's great. Well, it's been great visiting with you. Thank you for having us on your podcast.
Yeah, and
thanks for being in here.
Cool jazz beats in the background.
Nothing says comedy like cool jazz.
All right, guys.